Hello, everybody. I am just linking up to my AirPods. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Let's double check. All right. How's everybody doing today? If you can just say hello in the comment box, let me know that you can hear me. That would be amazing. All right. Just going to give it a minute just to let people into the room. Hello, Moises. Hopefully, I said that correctly. Hello, hello. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. All right, I got a thumbs up. Fantastic. All right. Hello, Pay. Hello, Acid. Hello, RGU. Hello, Ale. Hello, King Black. Hello, Designer. Hello, everybody. Rest Rider. Barlene, hello. Good to see you again. I saw you on my last live, so it's good to see you on here again. Kesar, Gemma, hello. How are you? Sebastian, how's it going? All right, guys. So let's just jump right into this live, right? So obviously, based on the title and the information that you guys received prior to this live that was posted on the YouTube and the Facebook, we're talking about the common mistakes post breakup and how to avoid them. So the first one that I wanted to talk about, and I see this happen so frequently, with people that are just breaking up with an ex, right? Whether it be you are the person who broke up with them, whether they broke up with you, it's overly communicating, right? So trying to plead your case, trying to prove to your partner why they made a mistake or why you should try to work it out. And look, I understand. I understand that there is this emotional wave that takes over post breakup. And especially if it came out of left field, because if it came out of left field, you are just not fully aware, you may not have understood every reason for why it was happening. So what happens? You start begging. You beg, you plead, you grovel, and what that actually does is it pushes your partner further and further away. I think a common misconception is, and I'm not saying that this is the case for every single person, but there is a part of this. If your partner is breaking up with you, this is probably difficult for them as well. Now, are there circumstances where it's easy for your partner because they're used to doing this to people? Maybe. That's possible, right? That is a possibility. But I have oftentimes found that it's also difficult for the person that's breaking up with you. So if you start to plead and you start to grovel and you start to beg, it actually pushes them away because they're also having to deal with the regret or the shame or the remorse that they're feeling for the decision that they made. And it's just a constant reminder to them of the decision that they made. So, how do you avoid it? How do you try to prevent from overly pleading or begging, right? You have to take a step back. And the thing that I always say to people is if you have to put your phone away for extended periods of time in your side dresser, or you keep it out of sightline, do it. Because if you have that phone in front of you, you are going to be tempted to reach out, to text, to call, to do all of those things. Now, if that's not a possibility, right? Because let's say your personal phone is your work phone and you have to have it on you all the time. It's about really making a conscious effort and saying to yourself, every time you have the urge to reach out to your partner, take a breath, right? Take a step back, take a breath, breathe in for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds, and walk out of the room that you are currently in. This doesn't mean pacing back and forth. It just means make the conscious and active decision to leave the space in which you are in, so that you almost feel like you are detaching from that situation, right? If you start to pace back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, there is already a level of anxiety that you're experiencing when you're getting that urge or that want to reach out. And what you're actually doing is you're elevating your heart rate by pacing back and forth and contributing to that anxiety. So don't pace. Go to another side, right? Go to another room, go to a different place so that you can disconnect from that situation. The second part of this, and it's a segue, is don't overly apologize, right? When we start to overly apologize and we start to say, we're sorry, we're sorry, we're sorry, we're sorry, oftentimes we don't even fully know what we're sorry about. We are just saying sorry because we want to show our partner, our ex, that we acknowledge or take accountability for our mistakes. We apologize and we want to fix it, but it doesn't always come out that way. So being super hyper conscious of how you are communicating, how you are verbalizing those things, right? So the I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry actually puts you in a very kind of needy and clingy position. And that A is not attractive, and B, it also contributes to that overly emotional interaction between the two of you that will push your partner away, because again, they're also still dealing with the remorse and the regret of their decision. Maybe they don't regret it, but the more you beg and the more you plead, the more it also validates for them the reason for why they were walking away from the relationship. So don't give them that. Don't give them that piece to the puzzle. Now, it really depends, right? Every relationship is different. It depends on the severity of the breakup, right? So maybe you guys managed to break up amicably and it wasn't this disastrous, catastrophic breakup. You have to gauge for yourself emotionally whether you feel ready to be able to open the lines of communication with your ex and to try to rebuild something or to bridge a gap here, right? That's something that takes self reflection, some introspection. And oftentimes we are so caught up in the adrenaline of the situation, in the clouded thought that we just want to fix it right away. But keep in mind, time really does help. Time is a benefit. And as cliche as that may sound, right? Time heals all wounds. It's true to a certain degree. So allowing yourself to trust the process, allowing yourself to let time do what it does will actually put you in a better position to be able to recover or reconcile the relationship if that is what your intention is. We are so obsessed with time because as human beings, time to us equates to finality, right? The end. If we were not obsessed with time, we wouldn't have created watches and clocks and calendars and all of these things. So trying to control time actually contributes to the process being drawn out and feeling like it's going on forever and ever and ever, right? So allow time to do what it does. Take a step back, you know, reflect. What is it that you are accountable for in the in the relationship falling apart? What is it that your partner is accountable for? You know, are there any things that you feel like you need to work on? Did you lose yourself in the relationship? Do you feel like you didn't have a sense of self-identity anymore, which is why the relationship ended in the first place? Maybe your partner was cheating. Maybe they sucked at communication, right? Or you felt like you couldn't trust them. Why did you stay in the relationship as long as you did if you knew those things? It's very important to really take a step back and reflect on these types of things. The third part of this, and it's a common mistake that most people make, is not listening, right? When your ex breaks up with you, most of the time they give you a roadmap. They say, hey, I'm breaking up because of X, Y, and Z. Now, if you unfortunately did not get that, and it was just a circumstance or a situation where your ex said, hey, I'm breaking up with you, and you had no idea why, and you feel like you don't have any closure, I empathize with you. I know how difficult that can be. But if you're seeking closure from your partner on that, you probably aren't going to get it. You know, their actions should be enough closure for you. But we are so obsessed in hearing it from our ex that we negate the fact or we ignore the fact that we can actually draw closure from within ourselves over the situation. Now, where it comes to the aspect of listening is there are often times where your ex says to you, "Hey, look, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. Like, I need time and space." That's a roadmap. They're telling you, "Hey, I need time and space." And if you don't listen to them, and if you over communicate, and if you get needy and clingy and you beg, you're not following the map. And as hard as that may be, because you may really want to fix things, the best way to fix it sometimes is to do nothing, to take a step back, right? And in the process of taking a step back, it segues me to the fourth point. The common mistake that most people make is you're not focusing on your own growth. You're focusing on the other person, right? You are putting your personal development and progress in that individual's hands. And when you do that, they have total control. They have total control on whether you are able to heal or whether you're able to move on, whether you're able to really start to get to know yourself again because you are giving that to them. Take ownership of that. Take that back. Put yourself back on the pedestal, right? And focus on your own personal growth. What do you need to do to get back to center, to feel grounded, to feel like yourself again? And in order to do that, again, sometimes it takes it's as far as, because if we're talking about how to avoid these mistakes, sometimes you have to make drastic decisions for yourself. Maybe that involves you removing your ex from your contacts, you know, hiding their stories on Instagram so you're not constantly seeing them posting and getting a reminder of this. Writing, journaling, getting your emotions out on paper so that you can view them objectively instead of getting stuck in the subjective, right? Because when you reach out to an ex, it's also because you're trying to get things off your chest. You're trying to emotionally unload, even if you are not consciously aware of that. So utilize your journal for that so that you're not putting that on your partner. And guess what? It's going to be more productive for you to do that because then you can go back and read what you were feeling in that moment and view it from an outsider's perspective. It's more productive for you. It will probably yield better results in the long run than if you're just focusing on trying to reach out and get an answer right away from your ex, right? If your partner says to you, "I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. I have my own things that I have to take care of," and you don't listen to that, again, you're not following the roadmap. So in order to avoid that, listen to what they say. I tell my clients all the time, take people at face value, right? Call a spade a spade. If they're saying to you, "Hey, this is what I need," we oftentimes come up with all these alternate realities or what they actually mean. And we try to read the subtext of it instead of just reading the text for what it is. Just read the text. And in doing that, it helps you to gain a better understanding of your current reality. You know, there is something called the Kubler-Ross model, and I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but if you're not, go ahead and Google it and look it up. It's basically the stages of grief. And what happens post breakup is that there is a period of denial. And in that period of denial, that's where we make a lot of mistakes, right? But when we transition from a period of denial to a period of anger, that's also where we make a lot of mistakes. So there is going to be a period of time where the likelihood of making a mistake is high. So you have to come up with healthy routines for yourself, healthy systems. Pack your day, right? Um, if you haven't, done a hobby in a long time, start doing it. Start exercising. Start running if you have to. Um, you know, like I said, pack your entire day of things that you want to do. Go and hang out with your friends. Set a very specific schedule for yourself so that you know what you're doing throughout the day, so that there aren't these periods of emptiness, right? Void. in your schedule, because during those periods, in those voids, is when we start to overthink, is when we start to overanalyze. Now, I'm not saying to you that even if you pack your schedule, you're not going to overthink things. That is a natural part of the process. But make an effort to be consciously aware of the fact and accept the fact that you will have periods of overthinking, but they will come in waves and they will pass eventually. They will level out, as does everything else. So just keep those things in mind. All right. So again, those are the four primary things, right? So the first one is the over communicating piece, right? Don't try to overly text and call and email and all those things. The second thing is don't over apologize, right? Saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. It puts you in a position of weakness, and that is not where you want to be at this stage. The third one is listening, right? Not listening. Common mistake. If the roadmap is right there, look at the roadmap, listen to the roadmap, follow the roadmap so that you're not crossing your ex's boundaries and pushing them further and further away. And the last piece of the puzzle is not focusing on your own personal growth and putting your growth in your ex's hands. Because if you do that, it's very likely that your healing process is going to be extended. And that's the last thing that you want. So, guys, I am seeing a lot of comments coming through here. So I wanted to go back and look at some of them, answer some questions. Let's see. Jack, where is Natalie? Natalie is actually not on this live today. It's me. Hello, Coach Danny. Srijani, I hope I said that correctly. How can I make him believe that I can change myself? So first and foremost, in that question, it's not about making him believe. It's about believing it for yourself. It's about believing that you can make the change for yourself, and you should be making that change for yourself, not for somebody else. Because if you start to do things, right? If you start to plan out your self healing with the intention of making somebody else believe, you're already pigeonholing yourself. You're already not lining up authentically with yourself, and you run the risk of losing your self identity once again. This entire process is about really taking your own life, control of your own life, right? Of your own love life, of your own romantic life, becoming more introspective, really understanding how you tick, how you work, what your needs are, your expectations, what boundaries you're willing to set. But if you're doing it for somebody else, you're already starting off on the wrong foot. So rephrase that, right? It's not how can I make him believe that I can change myself? It's how do I make myself believe that I can change, if that is what you're looking for. Do, 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 do. Let's see. Chris Vintage, narcissists will never say that they are sorry. Only empathetic people do this. You are absolutely correct. And if you are in a situation when it comes to breaking up with a narcissist, I empathize. I know how difficult that can be, because one of the primary fundamental foundational elements of a relationship is empathy, right? Putting yourself in your partner's shoes and being able to understand where they are coming from so that you feel like you are heard and understood. And if you are in a relationship with a narcissist, it is likely that you probably will not get that. And that is actually a very specific circumstance. I'm speaking more so on the generalization of a breakup and what I've seen happen most commonly. Narcissism is something that comes up quite frequently on these lives and in comments on YouTube and Facebook and all of those things. And again, like I said, those are very specific circumstances. Not every single person is a narcissist, but if you are in a relationship with a narcissist, and that actually involves a different strategy, a different way of approaching this situation. And to be quite honest with you, it probably just involves disconnecting from that situation completely, because you're never going to get that empathy from that person. And if that is what you're looking for, then you're looking in the wrong place. Dun, dun, dun. Talia, hello. How's it going? Barlene, let him reach out and he will miss you. If that, I mean, obviously, like I said, time helps with these types of situations. So allowing for time, allowing for your partner to realize maybe that they made a mistake, right? Or allowing them the opportunity to really reflect on the relationship. It's something that I say all the time. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. The grass is green where you water it. And investing into a relationship, putting the energy into a relationship helps that grass to grow. So if they chose to step out of the relationship, if they chose to really put themselves, let's say, first, right, and try to explore and figure themselves out, then we have to allow them to do that, because you never want to force somebody to be with you. That's not going to make you feel good. That doesn't feel good when you have to force somebody to be in a relationship with you. That's not what you want. You want that person to choose you. Project Chiva, hello. How's it going? There's a lot of comments in here, guys. Sorry, I'm just kind of going through all of them. Jawad, you said she just wants to be friends. Okay, so this is a complicated situation, right? When you break up with somebody, or when your ex breaks up with you and they just want to be friends, right? There's this common misconception that being friend zoned is a bad thing, right? The reality of the situation is how do I put this? The healthiest relationships are based on a strong friendship. And if you are now transitioning from a romantic relationship to a friendship, I understand how weird this feels, because it almost feels like you're downgrading. And in essence, you are downgrading because you're used to having this person, completely, romantically, platonically, all of those things. But being friends sometimes for your ex is their way of dealing with the guilt and the remorse of the breakup, of making the decision to walk away. And you have to make a decision for yourself whether you have the emotional bandwidth to be able to handle that. And if you feel like that's just going to contribute to your insecurities and it's going to make you anxious and stressed out because you're not going to know how to act, and you feel like you're going to have to put on this facade and pretend that you're this person that you're not, that's for you to decide, right? That's for you to take a step back and say, am I willing to do this? Keep in mind, your partner made their decision to walk away. So you also have to make a decision for yourself whether you want to stay. So evaluate the situation. If your intention is to get your ex back, there are strategies that we utilize and there are ways of getting them back as friends, but it does take time. It isn't an overnight thing, right? It's a marathon. It's not a race. And that can be really difficult because the fear and the anxiety is that you're going to have to be, the third wheel in their life. What if they start dating? What if they're going out and doing things that we were supposed to do together? How is that going to feel for me? And I get that. But that's why I say to you, take a step back and gauge your own emotional bandwidth and see if you have the ability or the capability to do that. And if you don't, that's okay. It's okay to make the decision to not be friends. And sometimes the no contact period actually helps more so in getting your ex to come back and realize the repercussions of their actions. So, Jude, how do I recover the connection after I've already made a bunch of mistakes? Stop reaching out. Stop trying to recover the connection. You have to allow for time and space to heal again, and again, I know this is a common theme that keeps coming up. I know this sounds really cliche, but think about it this way. If you get into major arguments with your ex, right? If you make major mistakes with your ex in the beginning, whatever mistakes you made, if it made your ex feel a particular way, specifically negatively, that's a very visceral feeling. It's tangible. It's very recent. And if you continue to try to rectify the mistakes that you made, you're going to feel like you're walking on eggshells. You're going to be coming from a place of fear and anxiety. And the last thing that you want to do is approach the situation from a place of fear and anxiety. Because if you do, that means you are leading with emotion. And when you lead with emotion, we have a tendency of making irrational decisions. So take a step back. Force yourself to go into a no contact period. And as difficult as that may be, I completely understand. It is worth it because over time, that visceral feeling, that you know emotion they are connecting to that moment starts to dissipate, and you have the ability to try to reset after that point. So, Jude, for you, I would say try going into a 30-day no contact period. That's a minimum, and reevaluate at that point. Do do do. All right, guys. Again, lots of comments on here, so I'm just trying to go through all of them. Oh, by the way, guys, so what I'm going to do is we actually have a quiz that I want you guys to take for me, please. Trust me, you guys will want to do this. I'm going to put it in the chat box and send it to you guys. What I'm also going to do is I'm also going to put a link in the chat box if you guys want to book a one-on-one coaching session. There's so many comments on here. It's really difficult for me to get to every single one of them. And this is basically about a 30-minute live. So we're reaching that wrapping up point. But I want to give you guys a resource so that you guys feel like you can get your answers or your questions answered if I'm unable to get to you, which it is likely that I'm not going to be able to get to you because we have a lot of comments on here right now. So again, I'm going to post that a couple of times just so you have it there. And I'm going to post that quiz one more time for you as well. Also, happy belated Thanksgiving for anybody who celebrates Thanksgiving. I hope you guys had a wonderful time with family and friends. I'm going to answer a couple of more questions on here, and then we are going to wrap this up. Again, I usually do lives like every other week, guys. I'm going to actually put an effort to actually start doing them every single week. And usually my pattern or the mode of operation is I'll go on YouTube or Facebook and I'll ask a question. And based on the answers that I get is usually what I utilize to select my topic for these lives. So if you have any suggestions, if you want to see a very specific live moving forward, also drop that in the comment box. I'd love to see what you guys have to say and what you would want to see. All right, let's see. So Warren, I reached out to say happy Thanksgiving and I got nothing back. I feel so stupid for doing it. Okay, so first and foremost, don't feel stupid. I know that's easier said than done. But what I tell people all the time is, putting in an effort should not be punished. It's a good thing. If they don't respond to you, that's on them. That's not on you. The last thing that you want in any situation when it comes to an ex or a breakup is to have remorse. So if you feel like you have done everything possible that you can do, then you can at least put your head on that pillow at night and sleep well. So if you reaching out on Thanksgiving just to wish your ex a happy Thanksgiving was something that you felt you needed to do in that moment, that's okay. As long as you weren't over communicative, as long as you weren't blowing their phone up, as long as you weren't stalking them on social media and all of those things, right? Wishing them a happy Thanksgiving is not a bad thing. But the one thing that I would advise is take into consideration how long it's been since the breakup. If it's just been a few weeks, that might have been too soon. If it's been a few months, that still might have been too soon. But strategically speaking, you did the right thing in selecting a specific holiday event or something to reach out because it shows that you're not just reaching out for any random reason, right? You're reaching out for a specific reason. That also does not mean that your ex will not respond to you at some point. We oftentimes have this common misconception that when we reach out to an ex, we're expecting a response right away, but it's because we're already anxious about the fact that we are responding. Give it a minute, give it a couple days, see if they respond or not. And if they don't, then, it's one of those circumstances or situations where I say actions speak louder than words. You have your answer. So just take a step back, continue your no contact period, continue working on yourself, continue focusing on you so that you're not contributing to your insecurities by continually trying to reach out and continually trying to get an answer from your ex. Let's see. Da, 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 da. JTA 170. Hardly no communication. She wants to do marriage counseling. So communication, obviously, I've spoken about this a million times. Communication is one of my specialties when it comes to my one-on-one coaching session. It is fundamental. It is a very important part of a relationship. And do I recommend or advise couples counseling? Of course. I recommend any kind of support network or system that you can create for yourself and your partner in your relationship to better the relationship. The one thing that I will say, right, if there is a break in communication and you guys are struggling speaking to one another, take a step back. Try to figure out why there is a break in communication. When did the break happen? Was it years ago? Was it a few weeks ago? Was it because of a particular argument that kind of changed your perspective or your perception on the relationship? And write these things down. Are you not satisfied in the relationship? Are you unhappy with where you are in your life currently? Do you not feel fulfilled? Because that also can contribute to a lack of communication if you are naturally an avoidant individual, because you have a tendency of compartmentalizing. And when you compartmentalize, it can basically start to feel very overwhelming. And oftentimes what happens is when you finally have that moment where you feel like you should communicate or you want to communicate, it all comes out at once. And when it all comes out at once, it's called emotional dumping, and it's really difficult for your partner to understand where it is you're coming from. So taking a step back and really writing down the issues that you think are priority in the relationship is going to be your first step. So I always tell people not to inhibit yourself. Take out a piece of paper and start writing down all the things that you think are an issue with the relationship. But also write down the things that you appreciate about the relationship. And if your list is unbalanced, then it's really about taking a step back and trying to figure out why. Now, when you finally have that list, let's say it's 20, 30, 40 things, try to break those things up into 3 categories, because oftentimes all of these issues that you've written down can be broken up into 3 primary categories, right? So let's say communication, intimacy, trust, right? So then you write down under each one of those categories, because oftentimes the mistake that people make when they try to communicate with their partner is they have a list of 20 or 25 things and you think that you have to follow it like a punch list. Okay, we're going to go through every single thing that is a problem, and it's exhausting and it feels like you're herding cats. So if you could do the work beforehand and realize, oh shoot, 5 or 10 of these things actually fall under the category of trust, then you can tackle the issue of trust. Why are there issues of trust in the relationship? And if you can get to the root of those issues, then that eliminates the 5 or 6 things, and you don't have to go through every single one, which again is exhausting. So take a step back, write down what you think are the issues in the relationship, what are priorities for you, but also keep in mind to write down what you appreciate about your partner, because oftentimes a lot of this has to do with emotional disconnect in a relationship. When is the last time you complimented your partner? When is the last time they complimented you? Because that is also part of communication, right? Quality communication over quantity communication. I hope that makes sense. All right, guys. So we are at the 30-minute mark. I hope you guys enjoyed this live. I will be doing more of these. Like I said, I try to keep this to like a bi-weekly schedule, but I'm going to try to do these every week now. So again, if you have any questions whatsoever, if you have any suggestions for lives moving forward, I would love for you to put them in the comment box. This live will also get replayed on our YouTube and our Facebook. I apologize for the quality of the camera. I haven't gotten my streaming camera yet. It's ordered, but it hasn't arrived. So the quality will get 10 times better, but I hope you guys got the overall message, and I hope that you guys got something out of this. I'm going to attach that quiz one more time for you guys. All right. Just so you guys have it. And then I'm also going to attach the link for a coaching session. If you feel like you need more help, I'm more than happy to help you guys with anything that you need, to support you with anything you need. If you feel like budget wise it's an issue, feel free to go on our website. We have a ton of free resources. We have our YouTube channel, our blogs, our articles, all of that. We try to cover every area for you guys. I hope you guys are having an amazing post Thanksgiving day or Black Friday. If you guys are going to get your shopping on, good luck out there. Hopefully it's not too crazy. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.